There to speak to your father is Gong Xi Fa Cai. We're going to bring this over here. Thank you. I want to start my evaluation this evening by thanking our two Toastmasters of the evening again, Terrace and Lucy. I can tell that you guys put a lot of effort into your skit and the program that you put on for us today, and I found it very entertaining, so thank you very much. I do have two suggestions for you, though. The first is that at the very beginning, Terrace, you were explaining that Lucy had one role and you had two roles, that she was the daughter and you were the boyfriend and the father. Actually, it was a little bit awkward, and it's not really necessary because it will become obvious during the skit what your different roles are, and actually it's even more interesting for the audience if we discover the roles that you're taking during the presentation. And my second suggestion is that you choose a more easy to pronounce name if you're going to be using it a lot. The name, I can't even pronounce it. Beatrix? Bellatrix. Is that a name of someone that you know?
I use the star name. I have an analog.
Okay, well, at any rate, it might be easier for you when you're speaking publicly if you choose a name that's easier to pronounce. But other than that, I really appreciated your presentation today. Okay, turning to the speeches. Our first speech was by Kathy. Thank you very much. Yes, you did very well, as usual. You're very confident, and you speak very well. You keep the audience's attention very well, and I was very impressed with your speech. I just have a few. Actually, I only have one suggestion. At one point, you were dreaming about what would happen on Valentine's Day, and you said, "He will bring me to the Ferris wheel." As a native speaker, I would prefer take. He will take me to the Ferris wheel. I mean, bring is not grammatically wrong, but I think take is more commonly used. We take a person someplace. If we bring them, it's a little bit like we didn't want to have them along, but we finally, all right, well, like your mother would say, make sure you bring your younger brother with you when you go. But take, we take a friend somewhere. Okay, I do have another comment. Later in your speech, you were miming a conversation with your boyfriend, and you said, "Don't you love me?" Okay, now what is the response to that? You got to think quick. Is the response no, or is the response yes? Don't you love me?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Okay, but you said no. So the answer to that question is yes. Yes, I do. Okay, still later in your speech, at one point you said how disappointed I am by what had happened during Valentine's Day. You would be better to say how disappointed I was, but even better would be I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed would be more like what a native speaker would say. And finally, you said several times in your speech, will love compete to each other? And I was thinking about how, as a native speaker, I would express that concept. And it's a little bit difficult, even for me, to formulate a phrase that expresses the thought that you have in your mind. The best that I can come up with would be, will different loves, so plural, more than one love, will different loves compete with each other? For the verb compete, we use with. Two teams are competing with each other, not competing to each other. But you kind of need to make loves plural so that there's two things that are competing with each other. Other than that, an excellent speech. Hades. Where did Hades go? Over there on the side. Okay. Also an outstanding speech, and I thought the content was very interesting, and I think that you make a very interesting point about the way that technology is and will continue to revolutionize social action. The only suggestion that I have, you were talking about the slave trade. You gave the slave trade as an example of an event that occurred before we had this integration and this network and connectivity. And you said, if I wrote it down correctly, you said the slave trade was being turned down by the protesters. We don't use the phrase turned down to describe the action that protesters do. What protesters do is they protest. So the way that I would say that would be many people were protesting against the slave trade. But other than that, generally an outstanding speech. During the table topic section, I have two comments about the questions that were asked. The first question is, what is your daily routine in your winter vacation? I would prefer during. What was your routine during your winter vacation? And later, the question was asked, what is your most impressive experience? As a native speaker, when I use the word impressive, I think the word that you're looking for is memorable.
Yes.
The one that sticks in your mind, out of all of the experiences, the one that sticks in your mind the most is the most memorable experience. Impressive would be like if many people are applying for a job, then the best candidate is the most impressive candidate. Or if you, well, I'll leave it at that. I think the word that you're looking for is memorable. And that might also have been in the Happy Talk section, the question there, I don't remember. One of the speakers during the table topic section said, I am not the one that likes to buy a lot of things. You can make that simpler and just say, I do not like to buy a lot of things. We don't make the phrase, I am not the one that likes to do this or that or the other thing. And then later that same person said, I don't worry it, but we need the word about there. I don't worry about it. Timer, how am I doing on my time? It's good? Okay, 98 degrees. Okay. Later, the evaluations. Chilian, you spoke very well. You have a very good command of English. And in fact, I was hoping to make at least one comment for every speaker, but I couldn't identify a mistake that you made. So you did very well. Thank you. And Ivy, you also did very well, but I do have a few suggestions. The first, I think that you were using internet in the plural. Internet?
Actually, now that maybe
made me think that you were using the plural. Okay, well, in any case, there's only one, so we just say internet, the internet. The word, there's a special word in the Toastmaster handbooks to describe what you were trying to say about the way that Haydes was speaking, and that is that Haydes has good vocal variety. When you change the pitch and the tone and the volume, there's a special word for Toastmasters, and it's in all of the Toastmaster books, and the word is vocal variety. He has good vocal variety. And finally, you said when he was looking at the screen rather than the audience, you said it is quite pity. Pity is a noun, so we would have to say it is quite a pity. Quite a pity. And finally, Gordon asked me to rearrange the evaluation so that I would have an opportunity to comment on his speech. But again, I listened as well as I could, and I couldn't identify any problems. So I just want to close with something that he said that I agree with wholeheartedly. He said, you people are great. And I really feel that way. I think you should all be proud of yourselves. This is an outstanding club, and I'm looking forward to another great semester. I'll turn it back over to you.